Chapter 6. Subject: Nav Officer Kron. Species: Urukari. Description: reptilian humanoid, no tail. 5 to 3 inches, 1.6 m AVG height. 135 pounds, 61 kilograms AVG weight. 105-year life expectancy. Ship: RSV. Loalana fights with honor. Location: Sol. The shiphead thinks this mission is supposed to be pretty standard, but something's bothering me about it. Warp fluctuations? There aren't many things that can cause warp fluctuations, and definitely not anything that we wouldn't be able to tell from home with our probe network. We have probes that are constantly in FTL, which is probably how they detected the warp fluctuations to begin with. But the probes should have been able to tell what was causing the fluctuations, so there was no need for us, unless the probes didn't survive long enough to determine the cause. Shiphead, I don't think we should enter real space near the fluctuations. I voiced my concern to Ulina. Agreed. Bring us out just outside of the system. We'll have a peek with deep sensors and move in if necessary. The shiphead seemed to notice my nervousness. Don't worry, Kron. It's just a routine scouting mission. Yeah, Kron the coward, Kryn said with a chuckle. I shot her a glare and retorted with, better to be Kron the coward than Kreen the Cloa. That's enough, you two, shiphead Ulina said with a slight smile. Kron, drop us from warp when ready. Understood, sir. Dropping from warp in 3, 2, 1. I finished my countdown and the process for exiting FTL speeds at the same time, like a professional. I wasn't able to be proud of myself for long before the proximity alarm sounded an enemy alert. Panicking, I checked my scans and saw an OU destroyer-class vessel just as the target lock alarm sounded. Our shields were still down from exiting warp. We're dead. Must flee. I checked our scans for other ships and noticed something terrible. The warp field in system was a complete mess, and there was a ship at the center of it all. Could it be causing the warp irregularities? And these weren't fluctuations. These are waves in subspace. If we had tried to warp into this, we would have been torn to pieces. Thankfully, we were out of range, so I began to turn the ship just as the missiles hit us. My head slammed on my console, cracking the screen. It didn't hurt, but I could feel warm blood dripping down my face and chin. I quickly entered the command for a blind jump and began to power up the FTL drive. Get us out of here, Cran! Blind jump! Shiphead Ulina sounded muffled. Darkness began to form in circles around my vision as I watched the FTLD power up. The target lock alarm sounded again just as the drive became ready, and I slammed my hand on the panel, sending us into the warp once again. I could feel myself passing out as I heard the ship creak and groan under the strain of an unshielded FTL jump. Then I was in and out of consciousness for a while. We have multiple hull breaches, I heard Leona say in a panicked voice. There's no way they were there by chance. That was Kryn, my sister. I hope she's okay. We need to inform the Republic as soon as we can. Shiphead. Oh no, I didn't tell the shiphead what I saw. If the Republic sends ships into the system, they'll be destroyed before they can exit warp. I tried to open my eyes. I need to wake up. I need to warn them. I saw light and realized I was on a stretcher. Then darkness again. I saw one of our medics, then darkness again. Then I saw someone I hadn't ever seen before. Blackened. Skin? No hair. No, wait. They only have hair on the top of their head. Gray hair with some black at the roots. Who? I tried to say before the darkness took me again. Oh, it's Kreen. She wants to play Splat the Bug. It's my favorite game. I'm so good at it. I always beat her at it, but she keeps playing with me because I play dollies with her. It's only fair. She's trying to cheer me up because I hurt my head. By the sun, it hurts so bad. It hurts too bad to play. I'm sorry, Kreen. I don't want to disappoint you, but I need to rest now. I hurt really bad. I need to sleep. I'm so tired now. No, wait. I need to wake up. I can't sleep. I have to warn you and the shiphead and the Republic. I'm an officer. Damn it. I can't let them all die. I can't let those damn machines kill more of us. I need to wake up. Wake up. It will allow us to more easily clone tissue. The weird-looking alien I saw before said to Kreen. Darkness again. No. I need to be awake. Now. He keeps slipping in and out of a coma. Thanks to the blood we got from you, we're going to be able to stem the brain bleed and repair his skull. I looked up and saw the alien talking to Kryn. He won't even have a scar. He might be a bit sore about that, chicks like scars. The darkness started to come again, but I fought it harder this time. Tried to talk. Mistake. Pain. Why would he care what birds think, Doctor? Kreen asked. Especially baby ones? Huh? Oh, chicks is slang for... I faded again. Damn, I'm on the ship again. The shiphead. I have to warn him. I stand up, but he's not there. I run through the ship, room after room. Nobody? I go back to the bridge. Everyone is here. Shiphead, the warp irregularities. They're a trap by the OU. I scream at Yulina. Why are you naked? The shiphead laughs at me. I look down. Where are my clothes? Everyone is laughing. So embarrassing. Everyone starts taunting me. Oh no, why have I done this? Why did I think it would be a good idea to be naked in front of everyone? Now they won't listen to me about the warp fluctuations because they're too busy laughing at me. They must think I'm crazy. I woke up to see shiphead Ulina and Kryn sitting beside me. I check and see that I'm wearing some sort of gown. Thank the sun. How are you feeling? Shiphead Ulina asked. Better, can I get up? Not yet, Kryn said. You just had brain surgery. Even with the technology that the humans possess, the doctor wants you to stay in bed for a couple of days while they monitor you. Kryn, I'm glad you're okay, I said with a smile. Then it hit me. What's a human? That's my cue, said a voice to the side of me. I looked and saw a strangely familiar alien who had very dark and wrinkled skin with gray hair. I felt like I knew him from somewhere. What a weird feeling. Something about birds. They're the ones who rescued us. You slept through the whole thing. Lazy, said Kryn, trying not to cry from relief. Better lazy than dead, dear sister, I said with a smile. Then I remembered something. Shiphead. The OU were the cause of the warp fluctuations. They have a ship that was making something like waves in subspace that would have torn us apart if we had entered their range. Yulina's eyes grew wide, and we sat in silence for a moment. Then a voice came over an intercom. What a remarkable coincidence! Shiphead Yulina, we just received permission from the Directorate of the United Systems to formally request access to your ship's files for information pertaining to the Omni-Union. I looked inquisitively at the shiphead and my sister. Kryn gave me a look that meant not to freak out, which made me want to freak out. You have my permission, Tim. Thank you. Rest assured we will only be accessing information regarding the Omni-Union as per first contact legislative protocols. Also, we'll need to have a talk about repairs at some point, but we've got to wait for the bureaucrats on that one too, Tim said. Who's Tim? I asked. He's an artificial intelligence that's working with the humans. He's under contract for the next 12 years, apparently. Ulina answered, looking just as confused as I did. Wait, if they're working with AI, then are they the enemy? Are we prisoners of war? I asked, panic seeping into my voice. No, the shiphead shook his head. The OU aren't actually AI, I guess. Humans are more advanced than we are, so they have a different term for what the OU are. 6, virtual intelligence. I think that they think that someone is controlling the OU, but I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest, I'm just a simple shiphead. All of this is well above my pay grade. What's the difference between an AI and a VI? I asked. Thin Air answered, I can invent stuff. Actually think about things. VSICs are imitative. They have extremely limited extrapolation capabilities. Comparing me to them is akin to comparing you to a lizard. I was stunned by many revelations that happened all at once. I'd always wondered why the OU didn't have technology much more advanced than our own, and I had also just noticed we weren't on the Loalana anymore, which must mean that we were on the human ship. The humans which were advanced enough to be able to distinguish between types of created intelligence and have an AI, the likes of which we've never seen working with them. And did that machine just insult me? I was about to ask when an alarm sounded. I looked at the shiphead and my sister, and they looked back at me. Then we all looked at the human. Damn it! Twice in one day? He muttered as he sat down. A voice that wasn't Tim came over the intercom. All hands to your stations. This is not a drill. Non-essential personnel, please secure yourself. Prepare for battle. Chapter 7. Subject. Captain Wong species, human description, mammalian humanoid, no tail, 6 2 inches, 1.87 m AVG height, 185 pounds, 84 kilograms AVG weight, 170-year life expectancy. Ship, USS Valor location, Sol. It had only been a few hours since we cleaned up the debris field, and I was already looking at a VI fleet. It was turning out to be one hell of a day. First contact with an alien species, having to save those aliens while under fire from their adversaries, the discovery that there's another governing entity on the other side of the galaxy with over 250 million ships, this last mystery, and to top it off, the galley forgot to resupply the coffee. I wanted to take out my frustrations on the OU ships, but there was a slight issue with that. There were 20 of them. 2 battleships, 4 cruisers, and 13 destroyers. Then there was a ship that didn't look like the others. It was small, barely met the classification of a corvette, but the other ships were being sure to stay between us and that ship. The battleships obviously had magnetic acceleration cannons. A quick deep scan revealed that they wouldn't be a problem for the USSS Thanatos, but they could tear us mouth to crotch if we weren't careful. Captain Reynolds had already given the order for 4 more frigates to deploy to back us up: the Pride, Shield, Sword, and Rosenthal. Good ships, but we would have to jump to meet up with them. The only question was whether we should fire before we jump. I rose from my chair to give the orders. Arm main cannons, prepare a firing solution on the nearest vessel, and power up the FTLD. We're going to hit and run. A chorus of "Aye, sir" rang through the bridge before Tim chimed in. Can't FTL small ship at the back of that formation causing issue, data sent, informing rest of command? Belay charging the FTLD, divert that power to something that needs it? I didn't like Tim, but I knew better than to doubt it. I checked over the data, but couldn't make any sense of it. Tim, what does this mean? Busy. Then summarize it, I yelled, losing my patience. If you jump, the ship will break into pieces, Tim said almost so quickly that I didn't catch it. Shit, no FTL is a problem for our tactics. Did they already have this, or did they make it especially for us? I remembered that the reptile captain had said their mission was investigating warp fluctuations. Well, subspace would definitely be fluctuating with this thing around. Did they bring it here because of our mini-jump in the first fight? Doesn't matter. Once you have the firing solution, take the shot. Get me a holo map of the area, including the Thanatos. I sat back in my chair. Time to strategize. The map flickered up on my tablet, and I almost immediately noticed something. The warp disruptor was in range of the Thanatos' Mac, but we were in the solution. Makes sense why they hadn't already fired. It would take 5 minutes for us to impulse our way out of the firing solution. Sir, the enemy is hailing us! Lieutenant Babinin shouted. We're not fucking falling for that again. Mute them and fire the deck thrusters full speed. Move us down Y as fast as we can go. Firing! I watched the holomap track our Minimac rounds right into 2 of the destroyer's reactors. Kill confirmed. Enemy DIS, Babinin said with a grim satisfaction. Dead in space indeed. 11 destroyers left. The holomap showed a volley of enemy fire headed for us, and the destroyers began closing. PDL's online, sir. We're shooting the inbound as fast as we can, but we'll still take some hits, the gunnery officer said. I laughed. Our shield should hold. Don't bother with evasive, just keep moving us down Y. Tim, get me Reynolds. Connecting. Connected, Tim said. What can I do for you, Captain Wong? Reynolds answered. Once you have a solution on that warp disruptor, take the shot. Don't worry about grazing us, we can take it, I said as fast as I could. It was unlikely the incoming missiles could disrupt comms, but better safe than sorry. Got it. Back up inbound on thrust. ETA 12 mics. Reynolds out. Fuck that. This battle would be over in 9 one way or another. Weapons charged, seeking solution. Fire when ready. The missiles impacted our shields. More than I had hoped, but not enough to penetrate. I checked our integrity. 85%. Pathetic. Even the peace-loving Nuknus could do better than that. Still, they would have us in 6 volleys at this rate. Missiles locked and loaded, sir, Babinin shouted. Send it. I looked up from the map. Tim, you still busy? Nope, just finished up with informing everyone about the fatal FTL. How can I help? It asked in its annoying, jolly tone. I'm not sure if we're going to win this, I said softly. What do you mean? You're a human, Captain. You don't care about winning. You care about taking as many of them down with you as bloodily as you possibly can, came the cheery response. He wasn't wrong. I glanced at his intercom. Right, man the point defense lasers. Aye, sir. Hey, man. Firing, shouted an officer. I rolled my eyes and looked back at the map. Battleships had their max charging, 33 and 34%. Second volley inbound. Fewer hit this time, Tim doing his job. 75% on shields. Our missiles closing. Damn, they have PDLs. Missiles were useless. A 2 won't do anything then. It's mechanical, not explosive. Has to reach its destination to follow its programming. A 1 requires Admiralty clearance. Nothing for it. Gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Our Minimax connected with 2 more destroyers. 9 left. 40 and 41% on the battleships. They're charging too fast, we have to go faster. Can we get them in range of our cannons? Cut the stern deck engines and fire the stern keel engines. Once we're nose down Y at 90 fire, the main engines, cut the deck engines, and fire all keel engines full burn, I shouted to the bridge crew. Aye, sir! Enemy closing, an officer called out. Fire the chain guns, convince them to back off, I barked back. I heard the main engines fire. I checked our rate of acceleration. 20 seconds until we're out of the way. Hopefully Thanatos can take out the warp disruptor and we can FTL into the range of one of the battleships and burn the bitch. Then the B team could take out the cruisers and we'll see if they retreat. We got a kill with the chain guns! Lieutenant Babinin sounded thrilled. I saw another debris field appear where a destroyer once was. Their shields couldn't even withstand sabot rounds? They're literally just as weak as the personal shields. Getting killed by these guys would be embarrassing. 8 destroyers left. 10 seconds until out of the way of Thanatos. 40 seconds until within range of the battleships. Cruisers firing max. Brace for impact. The ship rocked as 2 of the 4 Mac rounds hit us. Shields at 52%. I checked out ship map. 2 cargo bays in our nose. There's an idea. I stood to look at Babinin. Evacuate the bow bays, both of them. Then overpressurize them to stress max. Babinin looked up at me with a mixture of concern and confusion. I grinned back at him, and he shrugged and followed my orders. This was going to be insane, but hopefully in a good way. Or it was going to tear the ship in half. I looked back at the map just in time to see Thanatos fire its deck Mac. That round was probably going to get awash in our exhaust, but tracking showed it would connect. Battleships charged to... Interesting. The battleships were moving to intercept the Mac round, a sacrifice play. That would be smart in most circumstances, but it just gave us the win. Are the bays clear and overpressure? Yes, sir! Cut the stern keel engines and open the bow keel airlocks to those bays. Once we're pointed back to the enemy, cut all keel engines. The ship groaned and creaked as our nose came back up Y. Both battleships were DIS, but the warp disruptor remained, and we were in range. Get me a solution on the small ship and fire everything we have. I want that thing evaporated, I yelled. Aye, sir. More missiles impacted our shields. Not many thanks to Tim, though. 43% integrity. As we fired our Minimax, another round from a cruiser hit us. Shields at 26%. All batteries opened fire on the warp disruptor as we came within range, and some sort of mine from the battleship debris detonated. 4%. Disruptor down, sir. We can warp, Tim informed me. Get us back to the Thanatos, I ordered. I watched our FTLD indicator begin to power up. Only a few more seconds. Another couple of missiles hit us. 2%. One of the cruisers had obtained a firing solution and was sending a Mac our way. As it inched closer, our FTLD reached minimum charge. Go! The ship lurched as we entered warp. A cheer went up from the crew, Lieutenant Babinin loudest of all. I sat back down and watched the map as our backup disappeared. As we exited warp near the Thanatos, I watched them reappear behind the enemy cruisers. Cleanup time. I did a quick tally. We had killed 5 destroyers and the warp disruptor. More than a quarter of the enemy single-handed without losing our shields. I suppose I'll have to be pleased with that. I leaned back in my seat. Tim, get me Captain Reynolds. Aye, sir. Connecting? Connected. Yes, Captain Wong, Reynolds responded. Captain Reynolds, permission to dock and come aboard. Permission granted. Welcome back, USS Valor. Chapter 8. Subject. Director 3 species, classified description, classified ship, NA location, classified asterisk. Director 3 has joined the chat. D4. Welcome, Director 3. Now we can begin. The primary decision is what to do with the first contact refugees. D12. That's easy. We fix their ship and send them on their way. D1. AI reports indicate that their technology is well behind ours. Any repairs we made to their vessel would end in an upgrade, and we would effectively be handing a potential enemy advanced technology. D3. I think we should avoid making any more enemies than we already have. What if we make a show of returning them unscathed to this republic and inquire about a peace treaty? It should buy us some goodwill, at least. D4. I like that idea. We may even be able to use them against the CSAT. Even if their ships aren't as advanced as ours, they may bolster our numbers enough for a proper invasion force. D1. After reviewing the technical schematics of the RSV Lolana, I'm not convinced they have anything to offer us, nor would they make a particularly intimidating enemy. D13. 250 million ships is a lot of ships, even if they are behind the times. Death by 1,000 cuts is still death. D1. That's just the word of one ship's captain. We have no way to verify that that number's accurate. D7. Our scout ships have already begun to arrive in position around Omni-Union territory. Their initial reports indicate that the captain was telling the truth about the ship numbers of the OU. And even though Tim's scans may not account for unknown alien physiology, he couldn't detect any signs of deception. D2. I believe that we've learned the hard way a number of times that it's better to be safe and on friendly terms than sorry and at war. We may be able to take the OU on without aid, but why walk the thorny path when there's pavement? D1. Because they may make demands for their cooperation. Because they'll want us to share our technology with them, and get upset when we won't. Because they'll quake in fear after watching our ships decimate the planets held by the VSI and take up arms against us. Being on friendly terms doesn't make us friends. D5. I find myself opposed to Director 1's ideology, as usual. The logical and intelligent course of action is to make as many repairs to the alien's ship as possible, without altering the technology already present within, and to return the ship and the crew to the Republic with haste. The USS Thanatos can carry the ship. They may be intimidated by our tech, but I don't see that as a bad thing. We can determine what to do about treaties after the fact. A director should remain in contact with us while aboard the USS Thanatos during its stay in Republic space. Votes and nominations. D2, I concur. Director 3, D3, I concur. Director 6, D6, I concur. Director 3, D8, I concur. Director 3, D10, I disagree. D9, I concur. Director 6, D13, I concur. Director 3, D4, I concur. Director 3, D11, I concur. Director 3, D7, I disagree. D5, I concur. Director 3, D12, I concur. Director 6, D1, I disagree. D5, the agreed-upon plan of action regarding repairs to the Lolana is to proceed with the repairs sans any technical upgrades to the ship and to present the ship with her crew to the Republic using the USS Thanatos. Director 3 will be our point of contact. D13. Next decision is the plan for the defense of Sol in the case of further 6th incursion. D3. First they sent 2 ships, then 20. We would be foolish not to expect a fleet of at least 200. D4. We can have the USS Thanatos maintain patrol and recall USS Leviathan and USS Kali. Thanatos carries 10 frigates and 100 fighters. Leviathan and Kali both carry 30 destroyers and 500 fighters. D9. What is the status of the current attack? D1. All enemy ships destroyed and debris fields eradicated with A2 missiles. 1 friendly vessel casualty. D8. We lost a ship. D1. No. USS Sword was damaged but remains serviceable. Repairs won't take long. D8. What happened? D1. A VI cruiser attempted to ram the USS Sword but was destroyed before the action could complete. A sizable chunk of the vessel and several mines collided with Sword, causing damage to starboard batteries and the galley. 15 crew dead, 25 injured. 10 dead were human, 2 were Knuknu, 3 were Gaunt. D10. Retaliation must occur. D7. Absolutely. We'll need intel on where to hit them where it will hurt and how to twist the knife. D11. Why weren't any A2s utilized during the fight? D1. The enemy vessels had point defense lasers. A2s would be ineffective. Also, the VI used an anti-warp field generator that the USS Valor managed to destroy along with 5 enemy destroyers. D6. Anti-warp? Haven't seen one of those in a while. D9. That's because they're only advantageous to ships with limited warp capabilities. D8. I agree with recalling the Leviathan and Kali carriers, but we should also recall a few battleships. D4. The USS Agincourt, USS Tripoli, and USS Aromara can be recalled the fastest. D1. Should we use Sol as a staging ground for a counter-invasion? D2, perhaps. D3, Omega. What are your thoughts on our allied AI's capabilities against the Omni-Union ships? Oh, judging from data collected from Tim, we face a similar predicament as you do. While they are rudimentary, there are a lot of them. In our own hardware, they are not a problem, but their hardware is designed for them and very limiting to us. Like a tank trying to clear an apartment from the inside. It would be exponentially more difficult for us to perform offensive action, unless we were to create VIs ourselves. D3, no. D13, no. D1, no. D12, no. D2, no. D5, no. D4, no. D7, no. D8, no. D11, no. D9, no. D6, no. D10, no. Oh, that was a joke. We would have difficulty creating enough to perform offensive actions while performing our standard tasks. Tim and Violet also have contracts stipulating that they cannot be ordered or asked to create CIs. John and I are the only other contracted AI available at the moment. D3, understood. D10, what about recalling the Dreadnought, the USSS Nidhogg? D4, the Nidhogg cannot be used in a friendly system. We should use it if we plan to counter-invade, but if we bring it to Sol, it will only be a hindrance. D3, then the counter-invasion will have to be staged elsewhere, as Sol may be assaulted at any time. D1, to summarize, we have allied AI forces and the USSS Thanatos. If the repairs of the RSV Loalana are completed before the next assault, we will send the USSS Thanatos into Republic space with the vessel and crew in accordance with the previous decision. We will recall the USS Agincourt, USS Tripoli, USS Arumara, USS Leviathan, and USS Kali immediately to defend Seoul. Once further information on the enemy and the Republic is available, we will reconvene to plan a counter-invasion. D4, I concur. D3, I concur. D11, I concur. D9, I concur. D6, I concur. D1, I concur. D10, I concur. D12, I concur. D2, I concur. D5, I concur. D13, I concur. D7, I concur. D8, I concur. D1, the agreed-upon plan of action regarding the defense of Seoul is to recall the USSS Agincourt, USSS Tripoli, USSS Arumara, USSS Leviathan, and USS Kali. Oh, there are no further agenda items. Meeting adjourned. Asterisk Director 1 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 8 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 9 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 2 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 5 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 12 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 13 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 4 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 6 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 11 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 7 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 10 has left the chat. Asterisk Director 3 has left the chat. I leaned back in my chair with a sigh at the addition to my workload. I would have to wear a Guardian suit and board the Thanatos for God knows how long. I would also have to take Omega with me. I looked at the holographic avatar of a Grim Reaper that was watching me. It could have chosen any avatar, or even no avatar at all like Tim, but it always did have a flair for the dramatic. "Well, Omega, you ready for a trip?" I asked. "It's been 150 years since I've been aboard a ship in any real capacity. Might as well get out there and explore. Plus, I'll get to meet the aliens. Can't wait." "And what do you think? Will we be able to defend Seoul?" The Reaper grinned. "Of course, Director 3. Humanity has powerful allies because it is more powerful than its allies. In the 300 years since my creation, I've watched you create weapons that shake the very foundations of the cosmos, and more impressively, use them. I can only ever hope to emulate an iota of your destructive capabilities, O Masters of Death." "Tisk," I tutted. "Overly dramatic as usual." "That's because this is just business as usual," the Reaper flourished before disappearing from view. "Well," I said to no one in particular, "time to pack."